Hey everyone, this is Saito and welcome to my Xilonen guide. In this video I will tell you everything that you need to know about Xilonen, how she plays and if you should pull for her. That said, let's jump right into the video. Okay, so Xilonen is simply a debuffer, which is not pretty common in this game. I guess in like Star Rail this is much more frequent, but Genshin is mostly focused on buffers. Anyway, I'll cut to the chase. When you do the normal attacks, they will do absolutely nothing. She does everything by using the skill. She will enter a rollerblades mode, her attacks will be changed, and she will also be able to move very fast around the map, and that's it. Also, she can lay on walls, just like when you're climbing and you just stop, but this time it's a bit more cool, I guess. And yeah, this is half of her entire gameplay. And now, as you can see, when you do the skill, you will have a bar and also 3 little dots. The bar will indicate the amount of Night Soul points that you have. Once the points are over, you will immediately end the skill. And also, you can get a lot of points by doing like 2 to 3 normal attacks, and that's it. And once you do, a small explosion will appear, she will immediately lose her skill anyway, and all of your opponents will have the resistance decreased. Now for the dots, many people could be confused, but it's actually very simple to say. The 3 dots will always be Geo if she is the only character in your team, but as you can see, every time you put a character that is Pyro, Hydro, Cryo or Electro, she will lose one of her Geo dots and gain 1 dot of that element. So if you have Xilonen and Mualani, which is a Hydro character, you will lose one of those dots that are Geo and gain a Hydro one. So it will show 2 Pyro ones and a Hydro one. So when you get all of your Night Soul points, she will make a small explosion and all of your opponents will have the resistance decreased by those elements. Now keep in mind that the elements don't stack, so even if you have 3 Pyro characters in your team, they won't get a triple Pyro debuff, only one. So I guess that's it. For the ultimate, it's also very simple. She will simply do a single hit on the ground, which is AoE, but if you have at least 2 samples, so 2 dots, with a changed type, so for example 2 Pyro ones or 2 Hydro ones or 1 Hydro and 1 Pyro, she will also heal a bit over time, but instead if you have less than 2 samples that are changed, in that case the burst will also deal some additional damage, but that's pretty much about it. Now this lets her gain some Night Soul points, which is how she debuffs the enemies. This one doesn't do absolutely anything, it just says that yes, you can also play her in Natlan just like any other Natlan character. This is very nice because it's one of those passives that are not completely useless, like it's not a cooking bonus. This means that when you switch characters in Natlan doing that cool animation, she will gain 15 of that energy that she uses to keep using her skill. And this one is also a defense increase, which also means more damage. So as you can see, she looks a bit confusing at first, but she really isn't when you start looking into her. For the weapons, as always, the best one is the signature one. And this one not only is very powerful, but it also looks so fucking cool. Like, this is by far the best sword design I've ever seen in this game. I'm so happy that we are finally seeing some animated weapons, but aside from the design, this weapon is also very powerful on her. After you do a normal or plunge attack, you will increase your defense by 8% and also gain a 10% all elemental damage bonus. This can be applied up to 2 times and it will last for 6 seconds. And it has no cooldown, so you can just do 2 normal attacks on the spot and you immediately get the bonus back. And it's not all, because the moment you get 2 stacks, you will also increase all of your party members' elemental damage bonus by 8% for every 1000 points of defense that you have, up to almost 26%. So the max amount is 3k points of defense, and the buff will also last 15 seconds, which is more than enough. Also, the main stat is also defense percent, which is very nice, and if you want, you can give this weapon to your Albedo because he's incredibly powerful with this one. Otherwise, you can use a weapon that has caused so many troubles regarding Albedo and opened a feud that lasted basically till now, and it's the Cinnabar Spindle. So this weapon is incredibly powerful for Albedo, for Xilonen, it's amazing. It has a 69% defense, and it simply increases the damage of your skill by 40% of your defense. So this weapon is amazing for Xilonen, but there is a major problem. You can only get this weapon in the version 2.3, which is a bit in the past. I started playing at the end of 2.2, so I've been very lucky to get it, but it's very normal if you didn't. And this has been a very huge problem for Albedo, because as you can see, there aren't many good weapons that have defense as the main stat until the version 5.0, because now we have the Flute of Ezpizza, which has another 69% defense, and when you use your skill, this time you increase your defense by another 16% for 15 seconds, which is amazing. And you can also just craft this. This is a new weapon in Natlan, and I'm very glad that we finally found a solution to this problem, because it was actually insane to find a good weapon for Albedo when you didn't have the Cinnabar Spindle. Otherwise, you can also use the Uraku Misugiri. It increases your crit damage by 88%, which is crazy, and also increases both of your normal attack attacks and skill damage by 24%, and also this is absolutely insane, after your character deals geo damage, all of these effects will be increased by 100% for 15 seconds, and also your defense is also increased by 20%, so even if you lose the 50-50 on this weapon banner, you will still get a very powerful weapon for Xilonen. Lastly, you can try the Favonius sword or the Sax sword, but if you want my opinion, you should go craft the new Natlan weapon. Now for the sets, she works very similarly to Kachine. So the best one is the Scroll of the Hero of the Cinder City. It increases 6 elemental energy particles when a party member triggers a Night Soul burst, and after she triggers a reaction, she will increase by 12% the elemental damage bonus of those elements to all of your party members. So if she triggers a crystallized reaction with Pyro, she will increase by 12% the Pyro and Geo damage of all of your characters. And also if she does this while in the Night Soul blessing state, she will increase the elemental damage bonus by 40% instead of 12, which is crazy powerful. A 40% elemental damage bonus plus all the debuffs to the opponent's resistance is insane. However, if you don't have 4 pieces of this, you can try with 4 pieces of Husk of Opulent Dreams, which is also a very powerful option for every Geo character, apart from Zhongli. First of all, it increases the defense by 30%, and also you can get up to 24% defense bonus and a 24% Geo damage bonus, and it's also very easy to gain all 4 of these tags, so it will be pretty easy to get a 54% defense bonus and a 24% Geo damage bonus. Lastly, if you don't have any better options, you can try 2 pieces of Opulent Dreams and 2 pieces Emblem of Severed Fate. The main stats are very simple. For Science, always go for defense percent, for the Goblet, Geo damage bonus, and for the Circlet, either crit rate or crit damage. As for the substats, crit over defense over energy regen. Now for the teams, she's incredibly powerful in any team that is Pyro, Electro, Cryo or Hydro, but she's also nice in Geo teams as long as you have 2 characters of the same element, that is either Pyro, Electro, Cryo or Hydro. For example, Xilonen, Navia, Zhangling and Bennett. It's a very nice one. Navia will get a whopping amount of damage because Xilonen is very nice at reducing the resistance of your opponents. Another very nice one is Xilonen, Line, Zhangling and Bennett, which is basically the same one, you know where this is going. Or you can just replace Line with Arlecchino or Arlecchino with Hu Tao. Another team I was thinking about is a team that was very powerful when I started playing the game, which people called the #1 Hu Tao team in terms of dealing damage, and it was Zhongli, Hu Tao, Albedo and Bennett. So you can just put Xilonen instead of Albedo. Or you can try Xilonen, Brautesli, Shenhe and Purina. Or instead of Purina you can put Yilan or Xinchu. Or if you want to just go all out, you can just put a single main DPS that is one of the 4 elements, such as Nuvolet, Hu Tao, Brautesli, and just put her, Purina and Kazuha. I guess this is the best way for now to make Nuvolet be even stronger. Every time I'm always surprised by how powerful they make Nuvolet, but honestly I have to say that I don't really like most of these teams with Xilonen, because they are not teams that make a lot of reactions. For example, the Navi one is just her shooting a single shot without even many reactions at all. Line and Hu Tao do the same thing, even if Line is famous for not being a character that triggers a lot of reactions, so she's very powerful. I'm never saying that she isn't, but the teams she makes don't look that great, honestly. They look very boring, unless maybe the Brautesli, Shenhe, Purina and Xilonen. That looks pretty nice. Also you can swap Brautesli with Ayaka, and I'm sure you can find something even with, for example, Ayato or Chlorinde. You really have to try out yourself. As long as it's one of the 4 elements, then you can just play whatever you want, I guess. So it's basically up to you to not make the teams boring. And also, if I found an Electrocharge team, I might pull for Xilonen, because I always wanted Electrocharge to do something. It's a very useless reaction, and I wanted it to make it do something, just like with Overload. So overall, she's a very generic buffer, and you can put almost everyone you want with her, so don't even worry about free-to-play choices, just put whatever you want. Okay, now we can talk about her constellations. This one is pretty good. It simply says that she can use her skill a bit more, and this also means that the debuff she does on the enemies will last way more time, which is very nice. And if you do the skill just for exploration, it will also last 30% longer, which is also a great thing. Now this one is by far the best one she has. First of all, the geo samples will always remain active, which is very nice. But what's even more important is that she will be able to use crazy buffs. Like, this is absolutely insane. A 45% max HP bonus for a Hydro character, a 60% bonus on crit damage, a 45% attack buff on a Pyro character, just restoring energy and decreasing the elemental burst cooldown by 6 seconds. This is absolutely insane. This is crazy powerful. I'm not even like saying it because I have to say it, it's just insane. Now the third one and the fifth one don't do anything. The fourth one is pretty good actually, because when she uses her skill, all of your characters will have their normal attacks, charge attacks and plunge attacks increased by 65% of her defense. However, this can happen only 6 times, and this also applies to multiple enemies, so this will be incredibly good on a single boss and you see them often in the Abyss, but if there are a lot of enemies then it's pretty much useless. And the last one is just weird honestly. It basically lets her play in a completely different way. It just says that she can become a main DPS I guess, but for only 5 seconds, and she also doesn't just consume her Night Soul points and also deals 300% of her defense while you do normal or plunging attacks, which is insane, and she also heals party members by 120% of her defense. So this is pretty good, but in the end it has a cooldown of 15 seconds and lasts for 5 seconds, so it's not actually that great. This is just a very weird constellation. You should get the first one and the second one, because the second one is just amazing, and that's it I would say, because the fourth one is not really worth getting 3 other constellations. I'd say the second one and the first one are incredibly good. Alright, so as always, should you pull for her? Honestly, I don't think so. I don't really like her. I don't know why I'm not really fond of her. Also because I'm saving for Mavuika, because she's probably gonna get released in the version 5.2. So I think I'm gonna save this whole version because I don't see any character in this version that I actually like. And because I don't really like her, because all she does in the end is just use the skill, reduce the resistance of the opponents, and then just go away. And yes, it is true that she lets you play some teams that are pretty bad without her, and it makes the Abyss way easier and all of that, but in the end I play Genshin for fun and not for meta. And gameplay speaking, she is a pretty boring character, apart from the rollerblades, which is pretty cool also because if you put Mualani, Kachina, Kinich, you will always travel very fast in Natlan, but that's it. And I also don't like the whitewashing either, so just don't pull for her. Like, if you don't care about meta, don't pull for her. But as always, I am forced to say this because otherwise I know people are gonna say this. If you like the character, go pull for her because she is still worth it meta-wise. Like, it's fine if you like the character, just I'm saying that personally I will not pull for her, and that's it. Anyway, that's it for the video. If you enjoyed it, remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!